One. Love Talk Radio. Women have the power to transform this world. We can end crime and violence if we all agree to do one thing: share. Let's share our wisdom, share our time, share our talents, share our finances, but most of all, let's share our love. This is the female solution. Join me, Naima Latif, every morning, 7 a.m. to 9 a.m. Central Standard Time, as we bring you stimulating discussions about the issues affecting our lives. If you're listening online at www.blogtalkradio.com/the-female-solution, press the blue button that says follow and get our daily topics every morning directly to your email and your smartphone. Hi, I'm Naima Latif, executive producer of the Female Solution Radio Show. We invite you to call in 515-605-9325 and participate in this daily think tank as we examine the challenges we face and develop solutions that restore peace and harmony. We are global transformers, changing the world from the way it is to the way it should be. We are one. Wherever we live on this earth, we are one human family. On behalf of our team of radio hosts, I'd like to extend a greeting to all the members of our family, whenever and wherever you may be listening around the world. To our family in China, ni hao. In India, namaste. In Japan, konnichiwa. In Korea, annyeonghaseyo. In Russia, здравствуйте. In Germany, guten Tag. In Poland, dzień dobry. In France, bonjour. In Spain, hola. In Italy, ciao. In Egypt, ahlan wa sahlan. In Ghana, akwaba. In Nigeria, peleo. In South Africa, sawubona. In Senegal, mangade. In Kenya, jambo. In Israel, shalom. In Pakistan, Afghanistan, and Saudi Arabia, assalamu alaikum. Greetings, and may peace be upon you all. Hi, I'm Naima Latif. Join me and my co-host Kareem Hamid every Wednesday morning, 7 a.m. to 9 a.m. on the Female Solution Radio Show, as we explore that relationship that is the foundation for our society, the relationship between men and women, husbands and wives. Join our discussion as we seek to repair broken family ties and rebuild our community. Listen online at www.blogtalkradio.com/the-female-solution. Call in and comment 515-605-9325. Press 1 to speak to our host. Or you can join us live on Facebook at www.facebook.com/the-female-solution. We have an opportunity to transform the whole global society in the next 50 years. 50 years from now, the earth will be populated by a new generation of adults, many of whom are yet unborn. Our mission is to nurture them in childhood with love, guidance, and protection, and to raise them in healthy, happy families. If we impart values of compassion, generosity, and respect for fellow human beings in the next generation of children, they will create a world where people can live together in peace. This is our goal. Be a part of the transformation. Get your copy of the book, The Female Solution. Go to www.naimalatif.com. That's www.naimalatif.com.
Rising, and thank you all for joining us on this Wednesday morning on the Female Solution Global Radio TV show. I'm Naima Latif, and we'll be joined by our co-host Kareem Hamid in just one moment. So we want you to stay with us. The Female Solution Global Radio TV show invites you to an invigorating conversation with our team of hosts Monday through Friday, 7 a.m. to 9 a.m. Central Time. Start your week with Monday Morning Mindfulness with Zelda Speaks. Tuesdays, Self-Cell Care with Jody Susan. Wednesdays, Repairing Broken Families with Naima Latif and co-host Kareem Hamid. Thursdays, Soulful Solutions with Dr. Debbie Green. And Fridays, Health and Wellbeing with Beata. Saturdays, tune in 12 noon to 2 p.m. Central Time. First Saturday, Success Strategies with Jana. Second Saturday, Wendy Williams Esquire on relationships. Third Saturday, Move Around with Deborah. And fourth Saturday, Wisdom with Mama D. Join us Sundays, 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. Central Time for Soul Purpose Healing with Beata. Call in and comment 515-605-9325. Press 1 to speak to the host and be a part of the solution. And we are.
Guess what? Humility. With all of his bragging, he was a very humble person. Praise be to Almighty God. For those of us that know him, we know.
And we're joined with our co-host Kareem Hamid.
That bundle of energy named Muhammad Ali. Naima, you are with us?
Yes, I am.
Alhamdulillah, praise be to Allah. I have done a lot of well, I would say not background, but I have a list of Muhammad Ali quotes, the wisdom of this man, his insight, the things that he threw in sound bites that really it touches the soul. He was a very, very learned, very wise, very poetic, very insightful human being. And we are grateful to memorialize his life.
Absolutely.
Memorialize means that we should keep him in our memory. And he joins with our other heroes and sheroes. I would love Dr. Martin Luther King. I would love Rosa Parks. I would love John Lewis. He stands among those giants.
Yes.
Like Muhammad, Muhammad. You can just go on and on. So Journal Truth. So we have been blessed in my lifetime to actually sit with him, to actually be in his company, and even hold a conversation with him. He was and still is an excellent example of service to humanity. So I'll turn the mic over to you, Mike.
Well, we certainly want to greet our listening and viewing audience. And we are so pleased to be joining you on this day. And many people were not aware that last year there was legislation passed. The Senate Bill 564 was signed into law in August of last year, making January 17th, Muhammad Ali's birthday, a holiday in the state of Illinois. Now, it joins the list of commemorative holidays in Illinois. And of course, Illinois marks the first Muhammad Ali Day. But this is one of those things that is soon to be nationwide, because this January 1st, the Senate Resolution 92 passed the Senate on Monday, and January 17th of 2022 will be the officially recognized as Muhammad Ali Day. So we have an opportunity to teach about this great man in our schools. And for so many who were not around during the time of his heavyweight championship days, they can learn that he did so much more, not just for the sport of boxing, but how he impacted the world, the political world, and taking a stand against the Vietnam War, which during that time, it was really tearing this nation apart. Before, people just didn't think to protest the war. If you were drafted, you just went. And there were even those during World War II that were willingly signing up for the war. And then during the Korean War, people didn't question, well, why are we here? Until they got there and they said, wait a minute, why are we here? And then when Vietnam arose, there was a whole new awareness about our responsibility to understand the impact America's policies are having on the Black and brown people of the world, who themselves were fighting for freedom and the right to self-govern. And as it coincided with our very intense liberation struggles here in America, many soldiers start to question, wait a minute, why am I fighting other people who are also being oppressed? And so Muhammad Ali was a champion for the cause of peace. And this year on the Female Solution, our theme has been pushing for global peace. And so on this day, we're recognizing Muhammad Ali as a champion of peace and also one who raised awareness in terms of who he was as a being and the impact that he had on the culture of America. And what was very impactful, of course, was his conversion to Islam. And this was, in the eyes of many Americans, an act of defiance in what was the established acceptable religion for Black people. And so this was even a cultural, religious statement of independent thought. And because the nation wasn't as known among some segments of the population at that time, his conversion broadened the awareness and really influenced generations of young people. So we appreciate the fact that he brought out certain principles that you follow in a religious faith, one of them being that you don't kill someone who is not attacking you. And so the unjustness of that war was highlighted, and many people who had hesitated to use the conscientious objector stand to refuse to go to war were empowered to do so. And we're going to play a few clips of Muhammad Ali's interviews. For those who want to see it visually, you can join us on Facebook on The Female Solution. Go to The Female Solution on Facebook, and you can see. And for those who are listening online, they can hear some of these very famous interviews that Muhammad Ali did. But I know we've got probably some elders that were around during his time and can remember some of the impact that he had, and may even have met him, talked to him, been influenced by his style, his courage, and may even have been influenced in the direction that their lives chose, or that they chose to take their lives based on this man's stand for courage. He was known worldwide and was an ambassador of sorts, because if people didn't know a lot of other personalities in America, they knew Muhammad Ali.
Naima.
Yes.
You know, here's one quote that he made that really really galvanized and became a reality. He was speaking to America. He said, "I am America. I am the part you won't recognize.
Wow.
But get used to me. Black, confident, cocky. My name, not yours.
Ooh.
My religion, not yours. My goals, my own. Get used to me."
Wow.
Yes.
That's bold.
A lot of people. Yes, ma'am. To have the courage to be who you are.
Have the courage to be who you are.
Yeah, I have a clip here. It's about 6 minutes. It's on the studio board. If there is time that I would like to share, if we have.
Oh, well, go right ahead. We've got good 14 minutes before the break, so we'll certainly love to listen to it.
Okay, let me cue it up. Praise be to God. Alhamdulillah. Hold on one moment, please. Okay. Here we go. Okay, yeah. Muhammad Ali on not going to war.
Wow.
In his own voice. Muhammad Ali on not going to war. First of all, I would like to thank the student governing body for inviting me here to speak at this beautiful and worthy occasion tonight. And I would also like to congratulate them on the great, splendid stand to stop the bloody war that's now going on in Viet Nam. And as a Muslim minister, my own outlook on war and violence is well known by now. And I would like to say that the number one greeting in my faith is peace, and that is Assalamu alaikum, which means may peace be unto you. There have been many questions put to me why I refuse to be inducted into the United States Army, especially as some have pointed out, many have pointed out, when not taking the step, I will lose so much. And I would like to say to those of the press and those of the people who think that I lost so much by not taking the step, I would like to say that I did not lose a thing up until this very moment. I haven't lost one thing. I have gained a lot. Number one, I have gained a peace of mind. I have gained a peace of heart. I now know that I'm in content with Almighty God Himself, whose proper name is Allah. I have also gained the respect of everyone here today. not only gained the respect of everyone here today, but worldwide, I have gained the respect. People all over the world. And by taking the step, they have satisfied a few people who are pushing the war. Even if the wealth of America was given to me for taking the step, the wealth of America, the friendship of all of the people who support the war, this will still be nothing if I am not content internally and if I'm not in accord with the will of Almighty Allah. As you read the newspapers and the press now, you see that I am now in court. I am in court seeking justice under the laws of the land. In this country, the United States of America, ministers are exempt from the armed services. And if they choose, I am a Muslim minister and a teacher of the religion of Islam. It has been said that I have two alternatives. Either go to jail or go to the army. But I would like to say that there is another alternative. And that alternative is justice. And if justice prevails, I will neither go to the army nor will I go to jail. They say that actually every time that I enter the ring, in a way, I'm going to war. They say to me daily, "You are a prize fighter. What's the difference?" And I like to say to those critics of the press and to the others that there is one hell of a lot of difference in fighting in the ring and going to war in Viet Nam. Boxing is nothing like going to war with machine guns, bazookas, hand grenades, bomber airplanes. My intention is to box to win a clean fight. But in war, the intention is to kill, and continue killing innocent people. That's what the purpose of war. I would like to hear this from you, and I want the world and the cameras to hear it. Who's the heavyweight champion of the world? And I'm very pleased and thankful for being here. And that's all I would like to say. Thank you very much.
Wow.
That was the voice of
Muhammad Ali. Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
Well,
Yes.
I think him taking that stand, it definitely gave a lot of momentum to the growing anti-war effort, and the fact that many young people were questioning the morality of the war. So he gave courage for many of those who had been feeling that, well, the government says I must go, there's nothing I can do. And then you realize that there is a higher principle that you must follow, and definitely a higher authority that you must adhere to above and beyond a government. So this was a very powerful stand for him to take. And definitely he gave fuel to that what ended up being a monumental anti-war movement. And ultimately, of course, America did get out of Vietnam. But this was a battle, and he was definitely a champion in that battle. We've got some callers on the line, and if you're listening online and want to join this conversation, give us a call, 515-605-9325. Press 1 when you're ready to speak, and we'll come to you and get your thoughts. The Senate Bill 560.
We have 2 callers here.
Oh, great. We will go to the phone lines, and we'll take a call before we take a break, and then we'll take the next one we come back, and then we'll take a call on this line. Senate bill passed last year, making this Muhammad Ali Day January 17th, the day of his birth. So we're looking at his life and his legacy. Go right ahead, dear caller.
Okay. Air code 706627, Muhammad from Columbus, Georgia. Assalamu alaikum. Muhammad.
Wa alaikum assalam. May Allah's peace and blessings on you and the Jew and outside of the Jew. And I thank Allah once again we have a chance to revisit our history and our understanding. I remember when Muhammad Ali was fighting Ernie Terrell. I was Leroy Hicks, and I was in the Fort Polk, Louisiana. Again, disagreeing with the war, but Allah, through giving that inspiration to look at Muhammad Ali's situation, how it helped us to understand how to keep the balance between two rights. And that was one, the right to defend our country, make sure we do it in honor. So again, that helped me to find out that I didn't have the money to fight anyway, but I learned that I had the right to be a conscious objector. I went through the history and seen how other religious community and their sons and daughters wasn't going to war because of the same, it was a conflict. I also found out that it was an undeclared war. So those who, by Almighty God Allah, must understand that we have a share in defending our home, our homeland, our society, etc., but how to do it in the correct balance. So I had the opportunity to apply for a conscience objector, which would mean I didn't have to go up front and actually take people's lives who were out there probably just like I was, ignorant of their rights and ignorant of how to fight the power to be that was making them go into an unjust situation. But I chose to support those innocent people who were going to that front line by not carrying a weapon as I was legally didn't have to do. But the moral factor of being a Muslim at that time in the Nation of Islam, and everybody knew about if you had an X in your name, and they knew who you were supposed to be, and the type of counseling and comforting that Allah gave me to share with those people of our nationality who was in their unjust situation, as well as other people, was helping all of us understand how to protest and how to go about it, also serve our responsibility to wherever we live at. This earth belongs to us, the believers. So we have to defend it from corruption and all kind of situations. And so even right now, we're still doing that same situation. That's why they changed the rules. Well, it gave me because of the inner protest. And Muslims like myself who was in the army and the influence of different religious communities, made them come up with the scheme of the volunteer army. So that there could be no conscious objector. If you join the army, you done it on your own free will and you was willing to kill for what is wrong or right. And the United States government will not be held responsible for your own actions. But again, men plan and the law plan. So he made us go into the road that we was basically really supposed to go in, and that was being chaplains, being people who represent the word of God to help those who are caught in oppression, misdirection, etc., by Shaitan and the scheme that he has going on in their reality, And we helped a lot of people know the benefit of serving one God and how their religious way of life was getting them in these unjust conflicts. You know, with their own self, with Almighty God of law, and their fellow human beings.
Yes.
So there still must be learned from the great example of Muhammad Ali's life is standing up for unjust.
Absolutely. Well, we got to take a break.
Thank you,
But we got to take a break. When we come back, I want to address some of the things that he said, Brother Muhammad has said, you know, particularly because he mentions that the United States kind of changed its strategy to get people into the Army. And I did notice that you had an increase in ROTC programs at schools, and you also had increased benefits of joining, you know, being part of the National Guard and all of that. During peace times, they really swell the ranks, and then another undeclared war happened. But we're going to talk about that when we come back. If you're listening online and want to join this conversation, give us a call, 515-605-9325. Press 1 when you're ready to speak, and we'll open your mic and get your thoughts. So you can call us at 515-605-9891 on our American Muslim 360 line. And of course, our co-host Kareem Hamid will open your line and get your thoughts as we celebrate Muhammad Ali Day. He was born January 17th, and the Senate passed a bill making that day a day for his recognition. So we'll be right back after this quick break, and we want you to stick and stay. Don't stray away. We'll be back in a moment.
The Female Solution Global Radio TV Show invites you to an invigorating conversation with our team of hosts Monday through Friday, 7 a.m. to 9 a.m. Central Time. Start your week with Monday Morning Mindfulness with Zelda Speaks. Tuesdays, Self-Cell Care with Jody Susan. Wednesdays, Repairing Broken Families with Naima Latif and co-host Kareem Hamid. Thursdays, Soulful Solutions with Dr. Debbie Green. And Fridays, Health and Wellbeing with Beata. Saturdays, tune in 12 noon to 2 p.m. Central Time. First Saturday, Success Strategies with Jana. Second Saturday, Wendy Williams Esquire on relationships. Third Saturday, Move Around with Deborah. And fourth Saturday, Wisdom with Mama D. Join us Sundays, 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. Central Time for Soul Purpose Healing with Beata. Call in and comment 515-605-9325. Press 1 to speak to the host and be a part of the solution.
Do you want to live in a world without war? Join our global peace movement. Heavenly Culture World Peace Restoration of Light transcends culture, religion, ideology, and other boundaries to achieve a peaceful harmony in the global society. HWPL is committed to bringing world peace and cessation of war through peaceful dialogue between religious groups. I'm Director Shin-Suk Kim of the HWPL Chicago branch of North America. Join us for our next gathering. Call 773-580-1501 and be a part of the movement for world peace. Email us at chicagohwpl@gmail.com.
Hallelujah, greetings in the spirit of Wayo and Yah Shalom. Wayo means we are one. Yah is the Hebrew sacred name for God, and Shalom means peace. I'm Evangelist Mama D. Love Yah Nubian, and I'm inviting you to join me every fourth Saturday from noon to 2 p.m. Wisdom with Mama D. Call in number 515-605-9325. Wisdom, winning in support of daughters and motherhood separation. And spiritually speaking, men who do the will of God our mother too. As a Montessori educator, author, advocate, international award in sport, and ordained minister, females, I want you to say farewell to all things seen and unseen that prevent your potential. You bring forth life and give birth to babies. A kid is an animal beast with 4 legs. A child is a human being person with 2 legs. Facts can shape feelings, but feelings cannot change facts. A mother teaches love. Now the beyond that reaches out and holds faces and keeps together. That's what Wisdom with Mama D is about. Join me every Saturday from 10 to 2 p.m. Calling 515-605-9325 to share your wisdom and love flows into shape. Remember, mother's farewell. If you don't, your child don't. And if he doesn't, society disappears. Females, you are global transformers with the power to change this world. Use it.
And we are back. You're listening to and watching the Female Solution Global Radio TV show. I'm Naima Latif, and on this day, we are remembering January 17th as Muhammad Ali Day. Muhammad Ali was born January 17th, 1942, as Cassius Clay in Louisville, Kentucky. And this year marks the 80th anniversary of his birth. And as an athlete, he transformed the world of boxing with his style and charisma. As a U.S. citizen, he transformed the political climate of the times, openly refusing to be drafted into the Viet Nam War and being willing to lose his championship title rather than participate in this unjust war. Well, his courageous stand affected generations, and it catapulted him into international fame. And he, of course, gave so much momentum to the anti-war movement. So we celebrate his legacy today and examine his impact on the global movement for peace. And we're joined with our American Muslim 360 family and our co-host Kareem Hamid. And we remember how many people, because of Muhammad Ali, they not only became acquainted with the growing movement of Islam and the growing religious transformation occurring in America, they also became acquainted with some ideals in terms of ethics and values that you don't compromise, regardless of what the government may say or any particular law, that you must adhere to a higher law of ethics. And this is what Muhammad Ali advocated. So now we've got a call. You got another caller on the line, and then we'll take a call, and then we'll share another video clip of Muhammad Ali. So, Brother Kareem, you've got another caller on the line there?
Yes, I do. Area code 724-866. Welcome to the Female Solution.
Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum assalam.
This is Sister Gail Muhammad from Sharon, Pennsylvania. I just wanted to share the impact that Muhammad Ali had on my personal life, the life of my family, and the community in Schuylkill County, Pennsylvania, where he trained and lived for many of his life in Deer Lake, Pennsylvania, at his training camp. My younger siblings and the youth in our community of Pottsville, Pennsylvania, were selected to be in a commercial with Muhammad Ali for this ice cream company out of New York. And with all that, they gained a lot of skills and just personal knowledge of Muhammad Ali. And of course, they did an album with him along with the commercial. So we spent quite a lot of time around him, and we just learned so much from him. Also, one of my younger brothers became one of the youngest trainers in the boxing world. He was one that picked up that part of Muhammad Ali, and he has gotten many awards. And because Muhammad Ali had such an affection and mentorship for young men, he allowed my brother to hang at his training camp, and that caused him to meet Tim Witherspoon, and then went on and on. He came out here to Ohio and started training boxers, but he drew Muhammad Ali and bringing young men under his mentorship, even as boxers. There's so many of them I know have great love and respect for Muhammad Ali. And I was one that, I guess, listened to he gave many lectures after his training sessions. And he gave many talks there about Islam and just so many things. And I became curious and interested in Islam. And but to cut all that short, I wrote a poem a while ago about Muhammad Ali, and I would like to read that. It's called "Float Like a Butterfly, Sting Like a Bee."
Wow.
By Khalifa the Conceived. Float like a butterfly, sting like a bee. This is the legacy of Muhammad Ali. Like the metamorphosis of the butterfly, he shedded this world's perception of the blacks you see. He changed his name from Cassius Clay to Muhammad Ali. This metamorphosis brought a sense of dignity that the world couldn't readily see, but it produced many butterflies, just like Muhammad Ali. He gave us a conscience to stand up and fight for all the things we believe to be right. We can all float like a butterfly and sting like a bee because of the pollination of Muhammad Ali. The people are the flowers and he is the bee, spreading his pollen for all our liberty. The liberty that would free our minds, the one that left no one behind. His pollen of justice reached all of us like pistons and stamens, right down to the ovaries, to produce a new way of thinking for a new generation. He helped us see that freedom is not always free. It comes with a cost as we regain our God-given law. The float of the butterfly and the sting of the bee, that's the people's champion, our lifelong friend, Muhammad Ali.
Well,
Absolutely love.
Wonderful. Let me see if I can find the applause button here. Yes, that was such a beautiful rendition.
Writing poetry, so our beloved leader, Imam Muhammad, when he started writing poetry, that inspired me to write that about Muhammad Ali. I have one more, and it's kind of short, but as I'm growing in my Islam, as I grew in my Islamic knowledge, then I began, to look, and sometimes you just look close, the training I got from my mom and dad, from, the church community that I came out of into Islam. But this is called Ali's Qiyam. He stood up as a Muslim in his religious freedom as a conscientious objector for the Viet Nam War. He stood up as an athlete receiving a medal representing his country when he couldn't eat in places in the U.S. He stood up 3 times to become heavyweight champion of the world. He stood up for boxers to get better pay. He stood up in the United Nations against apartheid in South Africa. He stood up with trembling hands to light the torch of the Olympics. Wow. He stood up. And because he took a stand, we can all stand united in the world. He stood up. Will you?
Wow. Applause, applause, applause.
Oh, thank you. He was such sweet. He had, and I know he just from being around him, and Allah blessed him so much and blessed others through him that he actually, in his boxing career, when he came to our community, and Allah put his training camp on top of a mountain, and people used to say, if you can't bring the mountain to my wait, how's it go? You know that saying about bringing Muhammad to the mountain, and Muhammad Ali training camp was on top of
bring
a
the mountain to
mountain,
Muhammad.
and he
Yeah.
brought so many people there. It's just
wow.
He was such a great human being, and he never turned away. Well, I shouldn't say never. He always took the time for his fans and for he could be eating, and people would come and sit down and with him, and he'd share his food with just anybody. And he was loved in that community like he's been loved all over the world. And we just want to take the time to say thank you, Muhammad Ali, and all praises are due to Allah for just putting him in our midst in the time and stuff that he lived with us.
Wow. Yes. Well, thank you so much, sister. We appreciate you for sharing. Yes. Some personal experiences with Muhammad Ali. Yeah. You know, that's the thing.
Beautiful.
Yes. Yeah. Thank you for your poetic rendition.
I have not forgotten you, brother Kareem.
Well, we thank you so much, Sister Gail from Pennsylvania. Yes, thank you so much. Well, we've got a caller on the line here, and I'll open your mic, area code 773-487. Give us your name, where you're calling from, and your comments as we commemorate the life and times of Muhammad Ali. Recognized last year, January 17th, with Senate Bill 564 signed into law, making January 17th Muhammad Ali Day. Yes, go right ahead. Give us your name, where you're calling from.
Okay, so this is Cooper James, Chicago. Unfortunately, my father went to Viet Nam, and he survived and came back and had me.
Wow.
And so I'm a veteran's child.
A child of the war.
This is why I do what I do. This is why I go on radio shows and make stands. This is what I do when I run for political offices and be an advocate because of what my father, and I feel like I am a guardian of America because he survived Vietnam. And what Muhammad Ali did transformed a lot of us to be able to just be free in America and understand that we all have voices. He had a big one, but his voice was cut short as he got older, where he couldn't talk anymore. And I thought that was a divine. I thought God put that on him to stop talking, because I wanted to hear more from him. You know what I mean? But he spent his last 2 years in a wheelchair and he couldn't talk. And so that kind of disappointed me. I'm like, why? I'm so used to hearing this man run his mouth off, you know. And there's one thing I made a quote from him on that. He made a statement on that. He said, "This sickness that is on me is from Almighty God. It's letting me know that I'm not the one, that Almighty God is the one." That was a statement from him. I felt that. I felt that was God. That was God closing his mouth, because God tells me to close my mouth sometimes, because I feel like I'm Muhammad Ali during this pandemic. You know, I went into a office yesterday, and they told me to put my name down, my address, my phone number, my email, and I said, "Why?" "Well, if you cough or sneeze, we got to chase you, and we got to track you down and give you a COVID test if you cough and sneeze up in here."
I just start laughing. And
You know, Muhammad Ali's actions, his behavior never stopped. He may have been silenced locally. And boy, we focus on how he continued. His human, sharing. Go ahead, my brother. I'm sorry. I just wanted to think
one thing I would also just is when you the host of the show, you got a lot of time, but I'll finish up in a minute. When he tried to buy the projects in Chicago, and he really wanted to convert those in change, one thing I find out is when a brother or sister gets to the point where we really get ready to get a breakthrough, to get some land and really take charge of our community with building, we scatter like roaches. We scare little mice.
Well, you know, there are some things, Kufi, there's some things that he did.
So many people, y'all gotta have the spirit of Muhammad Ali when we out here trying to make changes. Like this guy's running for governor of Illinois, and everybody's like, well, he said all lives matter. Yeah, I say, you know what? Stop picking at his tree. Give that man a chance. And this is what we do as black people. A person steps out and tries to do something, and y'all pick at his tree. You know, and this is one of the faults of our people, and that's why I stopped calling myself we, the people. I'm not the we, I'm the I. Now, if you want to be a part, you be the I, and I be the I, and we come together, and that's going to make the we, because I'm going to always be the I, and you ain't never going to distract me, because that's the strength of Muhammad Ali. He stood, and regardless of whatever somebody said to him, he had his little rhymes or whatever, he come back. He was like a prophet to me growing up, and I take a lot of what he did and what I'm doing now. You know, taking the stand and put myself as a you know, I put myself out there like I'm a, you know, people are like, man, you better be careful.
Well, Kufi, let me ask you this question. Because you said your father went to the Vietnam War, and I know a lot of veterans, they came back with a whole different philosophy once they understood what was happening and the fact that they had been really used as a tool of business interests, and there was a new awareness about the reason for a lot of these wars that we get thrust into that have nothing to do with all of this philosophy of freedom, justice, and equality abroad. It's somebody's business interest, and they're using us to go and kill people for that. What are some of the things that your father talked about, was he able to talk about what happened during the war?
Well, he did. He said he was used, and the firstborn was taken. And he was the first man in the family, so he had to go because he was the first male.
Wow.
That sounded like the spiritual. That sounded like back in Moses.
Wow.
Kill off the firstborn. And so he knew, he's like, this is a trick by the enemy to destroy our family legacy. We had to go over there and fight people we didn't even have a problem with. He had a problem with it. He wanted to take their land. He wanted to go and invade. But at the end of the day, he had us fighting, giving up our lives. You look at the Civil War, you know how the Civil War stopped? A lot of people don't even know this. The Civil War stopped when the Confederates and the other side was fighting, and on the front line, they had black men shooting at each other. And
wow.
They was like, I'm done.
Wow.
That's how the Civil War stopped. They had us shooting and killing each other.
Yeah, because there were some fighting on both sides.
Wounded, war stories, and we used to. I remember one of our cousins came back from Vietnam, and he had a bomb. You know, he heard about a lot of bombs, and so he was really mentally affected. And they used to, like, he walked down the street, and they'll make a bomb sound. Like, boom, and he'll jump into the bush.
Oh, yeah.
And everybody started laughing.
Oh, yeah, he had
he
post-traumatic stress disorder.
Came back with drug problems, everything. So it was
one of the worst experiences of his life. And he was so glad that he got, he served his time and got a Purple Heart for saving this guy and getting wounded and picked him up, put him to the helicopter. And he got in the helicopter and the guy said, "We taking you home too."
Wow.
So he felt like he was being used. And I'm saying today we're being used in this fake war of this fake vaccination. This thing is coming out the pockets of J.D. Pritchard. He's putting his own money to keep this thing going. He's paying for these tests. He's paying for these vaccine tests. And we are at war, and we have become a part of the war and going along with it. The war is going on right now. They're putting this war in our mind. And it's up to you to say, I don't want to be in this war anymore because I'm shooting at my brother like the Civil War. And that's why I tell people, this is a stand you got to take right now. I'm not going to be in this war anymore because I'm affecting my brother and sister.
That's right.
Same scenario.
That's right.
All
That's right. Well, we thank you so much for calling, Kofi. We definitely thank you for sharing your personal insight. And, as something else a previous caller said, I think it was Brother Muhammad that said about how the nation changed its tactic. And if you're paying attention, you can see the manipulation. What happens to us when we're about to be manipulated into championing something and supporting something that's not in our own interests. First, we're fed a story. We're given an idea, and then it's talked about, and then we agree to the idea. And so then when the thing that's being introduced to make us make a decision that's really against our own interest is introduced, we've already been conditioned to accept it. Case in point, the war in Afghanistan. Now, there's a whole lot of issues surrounding the 9/11 attacks, but no one questioned why troops were sent to Afghanistan when no one in Afghanistan had anything to do with the 9/11 attacks. But Americans, being very ignorant of the world and geography and history, all they know is, oh, those people over there, those Muslims over there, they attacked us. And so they were conditioned to accept being sent to a nation that had nothing to do with the Twin Towers being toppled. But what many people don't know is that the land in Afghanistan is being used to grow many of the crops that are being processed in the international drug trafficking. So the control of that land was something that certain business interests wanted. But in order to get people to go over there and fight, they had to, in the minds of Americans, make them believe that the country was an enemy of America, making war against America, connected to the 9/11 incident. And so people were whipped up with this whole idea of patriotism and fighting those terrorists. And never once did anyone question, well, wait a minute, how is this country involved in this at all? Because people don't think. They've already been trained not to think and to just lump everybody over in the so-called Middle East together. And so that's how people were duped into accepting that and going over there for other business interests that had nothing to do with anybody's freedom or protecting America from terrorism. So when we don't think, we're easily manipulated. And this is what happens all the time. And we on this show, I won't go into it on this show because we've got hosts that have dealt with the manipulation that is making us not see the financial interests behind this current global pandemic. So Well, we're going to take a break. And when we come back, and I thank you all for joining us. And we invite you to call in 515-605-9325. Press 1 when you're ready to speak. And you can call in 515-605-9891 and press 1 when you're ready to speak. And our co-host will open your mic. And when we come back, we're going to share another interview with Muhammad Ali. You find out some of the major work that he did in the urban community that we don't know about. So we'll be right back after this quick break, and we want you to stay with us.
Oh man, God sent the monthly sun bill today. This sunlight is really expensive, especially during this season. I'll probably have to work overtime to pay it.
Well, you gotta pay it on time. We don't want the sun to go out and we're sitting up here all day in the dark.
Wouldn't it be terrible if God charged us for sunlight? Well, thank God, the light and heat from the sun is free. So why are we paying such high bills for the energy we use in our homes? Because we don't know how to use solar energy, the free energy from the sun. You can convert your regular home to a solar energy home and save tremendously on your electric bill. Take a look at your electric bill. Wouldn't you like to reduce or possibly even eliminate that cost altogether? Let one of our solar consultants show you how. Call today, 312-849-3456, and schedule a free consultation. That's 312-849-3456.
Hey, it's time to take charge of your health. I'm Viata, your holistic life coach, and every Friday morning at 8 a.m. Eastern Daylight Time, I'm here on the Female Solution to empower you to make choices that will assist your evolution to abundant health. I'm also blogging every Sunday evening at 8 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time at Soul Purpose Healing, where I bring you a spiritual chiropractic adjustment to bring you back into alignment with our Creator's love, compassion, and wisdom. Join me every Friday morning at 8 a.m. and Sunday evening at 8 p.m. for a time of unity, enlightenment, and love vibration. Shalom.
Tune in to Soulful Solutions with Dr. Debbie Green on Thursdays at 7 a.m. Central Standard Time and 8 a.m. Eastern Standard Time to hear great topics and stories on grief and turn it into victory. Join Dr. Debbie Green to listen to stories of triumph and learn how to overcome. You are not alone in your life, and there is hope in the darkest hour. This is your time to learn strategies and solutions to improve your life. It's your time. So join Dr. Debbie Green with Soulful Solutions and call in on Thursday at 7 a.m. Central Standard Time and 8 a.m. Eastern Standard Time at 515-605-9325 with comments and questions. Look to hear from you real soon.
And we are back. You're listening to and watching the Female Solution Global Radio TV show. I'm Naima Latif, along with our co-host Kareem Hamid and our American Muslim 360 family. We are celebrating Muhammad Ali Day, declared last year with Senate Bill 564 here in Illinois. And of course, Muhammad Ali was a global champion, a leader of the peace movement, and one who impacted the world in ways that many people are unaware, because he not only was an athlete, he was an advocate for justice. And we're going to share with you all a video clip. And for those who are listening online, we invite you to join us on Facebook if you'd like to see it. If not, you can listen to the audio clip. And this is an interview that he did with host Dick Cavett. And one of the things he talks about, of course, was after he had been stripped of his title. And during the period in between, you know, many people wondering, okay, well, he's no longer a champ. What is he doing? So he gives his stance on the Vietnam War and what he's been doing since then on the Dick Cavett Show. So we're going to share that with you. And of course, for those who may have some personal remembrance, we invite you to call in 515-605-9325 and press 1 when you're ready to speak. We will certainly open your mic and get your thoughts on your memories with Muhammad Ali. And we do appreciate those who have called in with their thoughts, remembering this profound individual that has affected the world and continues to affect the philosophy of so many. And this is his interview on the Dick Cavett Show.
Muhammad, what do you do these days now? It seems I've sometimes wondered what you're doing. Right?
You know, it's really strange. I'm actually more busy now than I was boxing, because at the time I was boxing, I had to go in training for like 3 months before a fight. Yeah. And like immediately after a fight, I was signing for another one, and I was like on the streets for like 3 weeks, and then I was back in training. And I fought as much as 3 and 4 times a year, and training 3 months for each fight. I was mostly in camp. Mm-hmm. But I'm more busy now than I was, more active in the ring. For an example, I was in Pittsburgh yesterday and toured about 3 black high schools in one day, encouraging the youth. A lot of gang wars are going on. They're shooting each other and sniping at each other on the streets. And the principals mentioned that with the things that I have done and sacrifices I have made, I'm about one of the few people that they might listen to. So I went, and they did listen, and a couple of the gangs got together, and we had a little secret meeting, and they shook each other's hand and said they're going to try to stop fighting and shooting. A lot of them are taking dope, and a lot of the girls are going into prostitution. And we went to the schools, we talked with the various groups, and we had a good time. And I'm on a college tour also, and my agent, Richard Fulton here in New York, says that look like we're going to be booked for another 2 years in the colleges. And I'm also franchising about 500 restaurants called Champ Burgers. We have 5 of them in the Miami area.
Champ Burgers?
Champ Burgers, right. And we're negotiating on about 10 more buildings in Georgia. And we're coming up here and all over the country. And also Random House will be coming out soon with my life autobiography. About 4 more months. So I stay pretty busy.
That's pretty good. Is there any how do you stand now with the possibility of going to jail?
Oh, I don't know. I'm just waiting any day now.
Do you think about that though? Do you ever think what you'll do? Or if you
yes, you think about it at nights when you're in the bed. You think about, if I went this way, what could have happened if I went this way, and I've figured it all out. No people gain freedom until some have to die, some lose their wealth, some give up money, and like I would say, the white race, when your people first got here, they didn't have these cameras and televisions and jet airplanes and air conditions and Howard Johnsons and Holiday Inns and Americana and Hilton hotels. They had to fight the Indians, watch their daughters raped and scabbed. Took 6 months to go from here to Los Angeles. Now you can do it in 3.5 hours. But nevertheless, they kept fighting and cutting down the trees. And they didn't see this, but they made a way for the present whites to rule. And the Japanese in World War II, they had these flights called suicide missions. They knew they would die, but they ran that plane, right? His life meant nothing when it came to the freedom of his daughter, his son, the future of his nation. And I would say like the astronauts, 3 white astronauts almost got stranded in space, and their wives were waiting, and the children were worried because they could have been out there now, still in orbit.
Yeah.
But for the progress of white America in space, 8 astronauts died on the ground, and 3 almost not got back. But whenever people want to really make progress, some have to sacrifice a lot. And I like to say, white America right now is spending $30 million a day in Asia. Black and white boys are dying unjustly for nothing just to free somebody else. So why should I worry about going to little old jail to free my poor people who's been catching hell here for 400 years? And it's kind of hard. It's kind of hard to put a.
Are you asking me for an answer to that?
It's kind of hard to put a black man, any black person in this country in jail, because if you ask the average one, we're already in jail. We've been in jail 400 years.
How does the subject changed so many times in that long sentence that I'm going to talk for a second now. That I really don't know how that connects with Howard Johnson's and everything, but it's a terrifically long harangue that you did. Do you feel bitter toward the entire white race? Or do you think there's something about whiteness that is evil?
No, sir. No, sir. Whatever white people do as far as evil or as far as mistreatment, is just the nature of the white race to be this way. If we check history,
do you think it might be human nature?
Yes, just human nature to kill. If white people,
human nature,
I watch television. If there's not a movie of white people shooting white people in shootouts and cowboy pictures, they're shooting Indians. If they're not shooting Indians, they shoot Negroes. If they're not doing that, they're shooting reindeers or elephants or killing something. Just got to shoot. The system is built on war.
Now let me ask you this. Do you think if it had happened the other way around, for some reason in what's the word, evolution, if the genes and the pigments had happened to work some other way, and if the nation of Africa, if the continent of Africa had developed the kind of civilization that ours has, is it possible that what I'm trying to say is there something intrinsically, I know this is part of the Muslim point, I assume, the black Muslim point, that there's something intrinsically aggressive about white nature that there isn't about black.
No religious point. What I'm telling you is in history books, in your own books about this. I have a book called 100 Years.
Oh, sure, I know.
I'm not bringing up religion or nothing. This is just a fact that the world knows, But I would say that just the nature, from what I see of darker people, is peace. I'll say like the Japanese seemed to be a peaceful people until somebody else came over. Dictating and trying to rule them. The Hawaiians, they'd be on the beach doing their little dance. The Indian was building his whatever teepee or whatever you call it. The African was somewhere doing his little dance. These people have never tried to go to other planets or enslave other people or take over countries.
Actually, that isn't true. If you took, for example, let me just, I don't want to get in an argument with you, but Tahiti, for example, is always used as an example of the paradise that the white man came and destroyed. But if you look into the history of when I'm an expert because I just read a book about it, Captain Cook, but that supposedly peaceful paradise where people did nothing but pluck breadfruit off the trees and make love and had no disease until the white man got there, actually had a number of unpleasant aspects to it, like the fact that they strangled infants at birth. To keep the population down, that there were live human sacrifices. So I know that there have been outrageous injustices against the black people in this country, but it doesn't really get us very far to talk about something as if the white man were some sort of intrinsic devil that no other race is.
You're all right. What you said was the truth. The thing that you all have done to us is worse than the devil you told us about underground.
How would you like it if I were to lead into a commercial now?
Whatever you want to say, but when you say
after this message from our local stations, we'll return.
Woo! Well, there it is. He said what he said, and there you go. So that was that. He didn't bite his tongue. That's just a reality. He said what he said.
Oh no.
So I mean, this was well, let me get your thoughts on what you heard.
A lot of people tremble is that he and people like him would say right in the face of the so-called white power structure, would say exactly what they had done and how they truly felt about them. There was no shuffling of the feet, gritting, scratch where you don't itch.
None of that.
We are dissatisfied with you. Love you. How can you love something? So having the courage to do that shook a lot of African American people up. A lot of them somewhat trembled. Listen to this man.
Yeah.
I can remember hearing some of this. He talked too much. No, you don't talk too. It's what he's saying. You are whispering behind closed doors, but he's saying it right in the public.
Right.
And thank God that encouraged other of us, of people of color, period, to speak out against how they have been maltreated. You know that they mentioned Vietnam. Vietnam was fought because Vietnam was a colony of France. It was dominated by France, and the Vietnamese rose up and they fought France from off of them. Now here comes France's big brother, the U.S. Oh, we'll go over here, we'll spank their rice patty butts. And that was the mentality. And those people had built underground hospitals and cities in their fight to free themselves from French colonialism. And Uncle Sam went over there. And let me state this here too. They emptied the streets of African American men. They sent them and put them on the front
lines. Yes.
Many friends of mine that I had lost their lives, and those that did come back, they came back addicted to heroin.
Yes.
Trying to cope with what they had seen in Vietnam. This idea of we're going to defend our country. Muhammad Ali said, those people never did nothing to me. Those people never called me nigger. You called me.
Yeah.
You put fire hoses on me, on us, denying us the right to vote. So we began to think and not just react to this call to go to war.
Yeah.
And I think we should begin to use that process even now.
Absolutely. We got to start to think. That's right. We need to think. Yes. So we've got a couple of callers on the line here. I want to open some mics. And again, if you're listening online and want to join this conversation, give us a call, 515-605-9325. Press 1 when you're ready to speak, and we'll come right to you and get your thoughts. We are celebrating Muhammad Ali Day and looking at how he impacted the world, not just of sports, but of politics. And the Senate passed a bill making his birthday, January 17th, a day of commemoration. So we appreciate that. And now we want to teach the reality of what he stood for. Let me go to the phone line, 773-737. I believe we've got our own Mama D to share with us some wisdom. Grand Rising.
Well, hallelujah greetings, global transformers.
Hallelujah greetings.
Rising. It is I, your host for Wisdom with Mama D, that's coming up this Saturday. It is written in the Black History Bible book, whose hero is a woolly-haired man with bronze-colored feet to match his bronze-colored face, that greater is he that is in me than he that is in the world. That's it, who we're talking about. To see a human being turn from a cast's clay into a spiritual being, Muhammad Ali, that's a transformation that few ever live to see. And when he said, no Viet Nam ever called me to get her, my is right here. You know, he never found anybody to fulfill his dream. So he learned to depend on himself. Yeah. And you know, once he said that about the war, he said there was people that hated him, that went into the ring to just to see him get beat because they hated him so bad. You know, okay, who cares? They're buying tickets.
That's right.
But you know, there's a saying that no bread, just fat. This is what he was like. He was great, and he backed that stuff up. Yes. And when the whole Supreme Court came against him, would not give him the courtesy or the respect that they would give anybody else, and changed his category. He was first disqualified. They changed it. They said he was too stupid to pass the test or whatever. He failed the test. He said, okay, I never said that I was the greatest when it came to book stuff. I said I was the greatest in the race. But they changed his category because they was going to make him a nice little, I'm glad I win, Joe Louis, go along to get along. No, he had that spirit of Jack Johnson.
Ooh,
I know I know who I know my strength. Yeah. I'm the world champion, and go run tell that. Yeah, I got your white woman on my arm. Go tell that.
Yeah, Jack Johnson. Boy, that was another one that just slapped the face of America.
I think he invented, Jack Johnson invented the wrench or some kind of thing. He was brilliant too. And Muhammad Ali, he was brilliant also. And to fight the Supreme Court, and they ruled against him. And one of the few times ever they reversed their decision.
Yes.
And ruled in his favor. But it was because he had a nation behind him.
Yes.
You know?
So now, Mama D, tell us a bit about what you observed with that, because, you know, I know you have some vivid memories of that, but there was a lot of people were afraid of the Nation of Islam. Malcolm had a voice that was unmatchable, in terms of his unflinching attack of the injustice in this nation. And the Honorable Elijah Muhammad built a community that had such a discipline that people were afraid. And so when Muhammad Ali said, well, I have joined this community, it scared people because this was a community that had a mind of independence and they were not controlled. What did you observe that him joining the nation and changing his name had on people and what they thought?
Well, to get rid of a slave on the name, oh my goodness, that was a nigger that didn't know his place. and the thought was a nigger ought to stay in a nigger's place.
How dare you change your name?
Like similar to Reverend Dr. Prophet King. Dr. King ain't doing nothing but making black folks look bad, doing all that marching. He ought to go home. When you control a man's thinking, you don't have to worry about his action. But for him to sit up, them black Muslims, they never would call them Muslim.
Yes.
That man is God, and I mean, they hate it. I mean, what is you basing your hatred on? The Muslims look like somebody, and they acted like somebody. And what was so miraculous is because they went to the prison. They got the worst of the lot and transformed them into the best of the lot.
Yes.
You know, disciplined and beautiful and well dressed. You know, but if you think about where did Malcolm X come from? The prison. And that's what we're going to have to go to today. Into the prison and get those second chances that says, yes, I was part of the problem and I've had 20 years to think about it. Now I want to be part of the solution. Those are the people, the ones that have been counted out, that we are going to have to count on because of what we got here in these political arenas. They have the spirit of fear, the spirit of we can't do nothing by ourselves. You know, you breathe by yourself, you eat food, drink water, and use the toilet by yourself. Everything important to your life, you do it by yourself. So at the end of the day, greater is he that is in me than he that is in the world. And with the more they tried to beat up on him, the more the world loved him.
Yes.
And he said, I was the greatest, and he backed it up. His funeral, next to, I think, Whitney Houston's funeral, I mean, was the most magnificent.
Yes.
That anybody else
globally attended.
In the
Yes.
history of the world.
Yes.
I mean, all the nations of the world.
It was amazing.
Represented
yes.
At his home going.
Mama D.
I mean,
Mama D.
I just,
if I
wow, yes.
If I could share with you the maturation, the evolving of Muhammad Ali, he evolved into universal thinking.
Yes.
Here is one of his quotes. If we continue to think and live as if we belong only to different cultures and different religions, with separate missions and goals, we will always be in self-defeating competition with each other. Once we realize we are all members of humanity, we will want to compete in the spirit of love. Quote from our beloved champion, Muhammad Ali.
Yes. And that is amazing. You know, what happens is that people evolve to a point of what's known as unity consciousness, when they realize that we're one human family and that we've been manipulated into fighting against each other. And when you get to that point where you understand, as you said, Mama D, greater is he that is within me than he that is in the world. You know, basically the spirit, the God force that we all are is greater than the manipulation of those who lie in order to have us living in fear. So when you transcend fear, then you can live in love. And that's what Muhammad Ali did. So we thank you, Mama D. And of course, we want to invite people to join us this coming Saturday for Wisdom with Mama D. Before we take a break, Mama D, what do we have on for this coming Saturday?
Well, we have, our title is Naming Ourselves and Saving the Souls of Our Children, including LT. And our guest, my niece, who was at the Daily Center Plaza with Mrs. Mosley and her husband and the Teal players.
Wow.
I have some visuals from the trial, all the judges, the courtroom.
Wow.
I have the ballot up in the Teal, and also Lenani Day's mother. Also, one of the guests. So we'll be sharing things from the Emmett Till movie and the other mothers of the movement coming up. So it'll be a little different because most people have not heard the ballad of Emmett Till or the story behind how his legacy had been buried for 30 years, and having Rosa Parks come out to the street dedication changed the course of history and resurrected that legacy that had been buried for 30 years.
Wow.
So got a lot of visuals that other people don't have and have never seen.
Well, we're looking forward to that. This is going to be a powerful show.
See it on Streamline.
All right. Well, join us on the Female Solution Facebook page. You can see as well as hear this Saturday with Wisdom with Mama D. Thank you so much, Mama D. We're looking forward to this show. This is going to be powerful. Well, we'll be right back after this last break. And if do you have callers on your line, Brother Kareem? We'll certainly okay, well, we'll take those callers when we come back. And if you're listening online and want to join this conversation, give us a call, 515-605-9325 or 515-605-9891. And press 1. That'll raise a little hand on our switchboard. We'll know you have something to say. We'll open your mic and get your thoughts. And if you want to see us live, you can go to Facebook and type in The Female Solution, or you can go to YouTube. We're streaming live on YouTube, The Female Solution YouTube page. So we will be right back after this quick break. So we want you to stay with us.
The Female Solution Global Radio TV Show invites you to an invigorating conversation with our team of hosts Monday through Friday, 7 a.m. to 9 a.m. Central Time. Start your week with Monday Morning Mindfulness with Zelda Speaks. Tuesdays, Self-Cell Care with Jody Susan. Wednesdays, Repairing Broken Families with Naima Latif and co-host Kareem Hamid. Thursdays, Soulful Solutions with Dr. Debbie Green. And Fridays, Health and Wellbeing with Beata. Saturdays, tune in 12 noon to 2 p.m. Central Time. First Saturday, Success Strategies with Jana. Second Saturday, Wendy Williams Esquire on relationships. Third Saturday, Move Around with Deborah. And fourth Saturday, Wisdom with Mama D. Join us Sundays, 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. Central Time for Soul Purpose Healing with Beata. Call in and comment 515-605-9325. Press 1 to speak to the host and be a part of the solution.
Oh man, God sent the monthly sun bill today. This sunlight is really expensive, especially during this season. I'll probably have to work overtime to pay it.
Well, you better pay it on time. We don't want the sun to go out and we're sitting up here all day in the dark. Wouldn't it be terrible if God charged us for sunlight? Well, thank God, the light and heat from the sun is free. So why are we paying such high bills for the energy we use in our homes? Because we don't know how to use solar energy, the free energy from the sun. You can convert your regular home to a solar energy home and save tremendously on your electric bill. Take a look at your electric bill. Wouldn't you like to reduce or possibly even eliminate that cost altogether? Let one of our solar consultants show you how. Call today, 312-849-3456, and schedule a free consultation. That's 312-849-3456.
And we are back. You're listening to and watching the Female Solution Global Radio TV Show. I'm Naima Latif, along with our co-host Kareem Hamid and our American Muslim 360 family. And we invite you to call in 515-605-9325 and press 1 when you're ready to speak. And we'll come right to you and get your thoughts. So I believe, are we back with our co-host? And we've got some callers on the line. We want to give you all an opportunity to share your thoughts. And if you're watching us on Facebook, feel free to write in your comments and share your thoughts. We'll share them with our listening and viewing audience. Muhammad Ali transformed America and the world. And as been said, his transition, his homegoing celebration, it was on the level of a major head of state. So many people that attended, and those who had the honor of having met him. And of course, you had many boxers that attended to honor him, and Will Smith, the actor who portrayed him, and so many that were impacted by his life, heads of state, major celebrities, people who had been impacted by his life. So his was a life well lived, and his impact continues to be felt to this day. So much so that legislation has been passed commemorating his birthday, January 17th, which significantly this year happened to fall on the same day as the commemoration of Martin Luther King Jr.'s birthday. Of course, his birth date is January 15th. But this has been a historic year in us seeing the transformation of thought and realizing that this really is a signal for us to take responsibility for our future and pay attention to what we're seeing and hearing so that we can choose the direction we want our lives to go in. And if something isn't right, then we need to set it right. So, Brother Kareem, you've got a caller on your line, and we've got a caller on our line. We'll go to your switchboard first, and then after that, we'll go to area code 111. After that, you want to take your caller?
Yes, area code 312671. Welcome to the Female Solution.
Thank you. Well, and Shalom, Ahura. We don't die, we multiply. That is beautiful, blessed, and all power and all praises due to Allah. Allah Yahweh. This is Brother Minister Robert Floyd Plump from Chicago, Illinois. And the first thing I want to say is Muhammad Ali. What did I learn from Muhammad Ali? I learned that I am the greatest. Why am I the greatest? Because I have PMA. And what is PMA? Positive mental attitude. Every second, every minute, every day. 24 hours a day. 7 days a week. 365 days in a year. Have no fear, because Trump is here. Talking of Chicago, America, and the world. There's no Dr. King. There's no Muhammad Ali without me. I was with Dr. King in August 28, 1963. And I just want to say ethical life because we do it like Africa do. And Africa, they do it every day is a celebration. And I thank the Lord God, we are hungry. And this is where I'm at too, with myself and you and everyone else. I just like to reflect on, I got a picture with Muhammad Ali in it, make the watch me, and Mother Queen, forever Dr. King, and that's a lot of Muhammad in the picture with Dr. King, Muhammad Ali is in the picture, and Malcolm X said, there's no, way of life without serving Yahshua, who most know is Jesus Christ. The relationship with Dr. King said we all can be great if we just serve. So I'm here to serve you, and you, Brother Kareem, I want to make sure I get that information on the sister that did the poetry. I got my video information, and I just want to invite everyone and on the sound of my voice to come and join us this Sunday, because the struggle, the movement, and the coalition continues. And we're going to be National Wall Street, Chicago, 4655 South Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Drive, room 203, from 2:30 to 4:30. And we're going to be celebrating Muhammad Ali and Dr. King and all the other brothers and sisters in the struggle, in the movement, in the coalition. And for more direct information, people can go to the Foundation.net and get in touch with me at 312-671-2773. I love Muhammad Ali, and he is still the world's greatest, from the past to present to the future, forever the greatest. Thank you. That's what I learned from Muhammad Ali. You know what my granddaughter said, Naima?
What did she say?
You know how the rhyme is?
Yes.
Thank you. Her name is Sarah Lee Trump. She asked me, she said, Granddaddy, where did you get all them rhymes from? And I told her I got them from Muhammad Ali. And I'm a veteran, though. See, I remember Muhammad Ali was supposed to go to Fort Benning, Georgia. They had him booked. And also Kwame Ture, which was Stokely Carmichael. And I got shipped in. They when I say I got shipped in, you know, I didn't volunteer in, but they drafted me in. So I went to Vietnam. And I picked Valley Victoria in Vietnam. You know, I'm just thankful that I'm a miracle.
Yes, you are. You survived.
That's the soil.
Yes, you're definitely one of those miracles that survived.
I almost got killed Friday on January the 14th. It's a miracle. My car burned up to the ground.
Wow.
I had to jump out like Superman.
Oh, wow.
We said, you must have did it. I had on my soldier's hat.
Wow.
You did what you did in Vietnam to keep yourself alive. I said, sure did.
Well, I guess that was a sign that that training did come in handy for something. It gave you good reflexes to jump out of a burning car. But we're so grateful that you're still among us, Minister Plump, and thank you so much for calling in. We appreciate you. Definitely.
And we love you. The female solution forever. Muhammad Ali forever. And Dr. King forever. And Honorable Muhammad. Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam. We appreciate you.
Minister Plump.
We appreciate you so very much.
You know, I need that. Cooper, you come too. I'm going to be on the show with Mama Didi. So
yes. We'll have our people of.
I got your phone number.
Yes.
Inshallah. Brother Kareem, inshallah. Allahu Akbar. Yes, sir. Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum assalam. Well, you know, it's always good when you have living history, when you can have your elders among you that can tell you and tell the youth who did not live during those times what actually happened. Because, you know, the people who were there always have a different insight beyond what's written in the books or in the news articles. We're so grateful. We had Reverend Al Sampson this past Saturday in talking about the legacy of Dr. King, because he was ordained by Dr. King, was part of the movement, was there during some of those major speeches. And so, you know, people who were contemporaries of these now historic figures can give us some insight that I think our youth need to hear. And, you know, something that Muhammad Ali said in that interview with Dick Cavett, when he talked about how they had the meetings with the gang leaders and got them to form a truce and shake hands and agree not to commit acts of violence against each other. That was a sign for us of what needs to happen now, because there are people who have earned the respect of many of the young people who are in a state of rebellion right now because they're angry, they're feeling alienated, and they're feeling betrayed. But those who have been standing up and speaking out fearlessly have the respect of our young people and can do as Muhammad Ali did and get them to listen and understand that they're being manipulated and used against their own best interest. And it's in their own best interest to come together in peace. So Brother Kareem, what are your thoughts in terms of who exists now? Who are the voices now that can speak to the hearts of young people who have been totally disillusioned with much of our political leadership and are feeling betrayed and feeling unheard? Those young people who, in their fury, will riot and burn and loot and commit acts of violence against each other in a state of total lawlessness. Some of them who are behind bars. And, you know, we talked about earlier the fact that Mama D mentioned the fact that many of the leaders came out of the prisons once their hearts had changed. So, Brother Kareem, do you see any leader that is among us now that may have the impact, whether they be a leader in sports or, you know, business, or someone who people feel that has not sold out and compromised, that they could trust, that you think could appeal in a special way to the young people? Is there anyone that comes to mind?
Yeah, on a national level, it's very, very slim, very slim. But in every locale, I think this has to be done in every location. There are people at the local level that have earned the trust of the general public. I mentioned here in St. Louis, our Imam Jihad Muhammad. He works inside of the prison system, and he helps mentor men that leave that system. And he shared with me that one young man said to him, well, several of them have said, you know, Jihad, we listen to you because you speak to us. You talk to us. You don't ignore us. You know, too many times we are not in direct communication with the people that need the help. We have to inshallah, make connections at the street level. Well, that is where the conflict begins. Police only respond. They are a response mechanism. But there has to be someone at the local level, that young men don't have a fear of speaking with, and that they will listen to them. So I'm referencing our Imam Jihad Muslim here in St. Louis. He has a wonderful record with the youth on the street. And I don't mean, he does not pacify them. He does not go along with their aberrant behavior. He doesn't make excuses for them. He does not blame the white man for their condition. He mentions personal responsibility, that every individual has. You're responsible for yourself. Stop looking for excuses. Man up. You know, it's that type of conversation. It's that kind of thinking. We have to stop making excuses for our aberrant behavior. We have to stop blaming people other than ourselves. And Imam Jihad Muslim here in St. Louis, he represents that. Now we have other leaders that they talk loud, but
aren't saying anything. He's talking loud but saying nothing. Yes.
They are not giving the solutions.
Right.
They're not giving the solutions.
Well, I think
they're just talking loud and massaging. Don't need that.
Well, I think you made a good point. I'm going to take another call here at 779-801. I think you made a great point about the brother who is not blaming someone, because it's time out for that. You know, you can get people to feel good by pointing a finger at someone else and blaming them for all your problems, but you can't fix your problems until you take responsibility for having created them, because truly we are all responsible for whatever our condition is. And when you choose to commit a crime, that is a choice that you had the power to not choose. And so when we take responsibility, then we empower ourselves to change. So that's the tactic that's necessary if we're going to transform lives. Let me go to area code 773-801. Introduce yourself to our listening and viewing audience and give us your words of insights today as we talk about Muhammad Ali.
Greetings, this is Maika. So, and grand rising to everyone.
Yes,
I know it's
Maika.
late, and I just wanted to let a few thoughts about one man that I love dearly, Muhammad Ali.
Yeah.
And he reminds me of his birth name, Cassius Clay. Cassius Clay was a prominent abolitionist in Kentucky. And Cassius, that's who he was doing.
Yes, he was.
But his slave name was a great name. Cassius Clay got rid of, he was wealthy abolitionist, and he gave up all of his slaves. He also donated 10 acres of land for the creation of what is now Berea College. I don't know if you know about Berea College in Kentucky. But Berea College was the only college that was co-educational and racially integrated.
Wow.
It charges no tuition. Every admitted student is provided the equivalent of a 4-year scholarship. And I think that's still going on today here in America. So that's just some of the background history of Muhammad Ali.
That's something I didn't know. Yeah.
Like, we thank God for him.
Yes. Well, that is powerful. Well, got our resident historian here, Sister Maika, giving us the insight on the personality that he is named for. So that in itself, that perhaps set him on a course that he became a liberator in a sense.
He was born for the mission.
Yes, he was born for that mission.
It's a clear sign he was born for the mission.
Definitely a sign he was born for the mission. So now, Maika, I'm going to ask you this also, because you know how there was this conversion at some point, even with the civil rights movement, and those who were in the Black liberation movement, those who vibed with the position of independence of the Nation of Islam. What did you observe as the movement progressed and it evolved beyond integration into empowerment? What did you observe in terms of maybe some of the changing ideas and philosophies of the young people who were spearheading that movement?
Actually, I don't have an answer to that question. When I met my husband, he was 35 years old and I was 21. And he all the movements that he had done and participated in all the things. So I really didn't get a chance to observe that transition, and I didn't understand Black history at that time. I didn't study history. I didn't learn history until I Dr. Dane.
I see.
I have a quote by Muhammad Ali concerning growth and transition. He says, "My soul has grown over the years, and some of my views have changed. As long as I am alive, I will continue to try to understand more, because the work of the heart is never done."
Oh, that's powerful.
So,
wow.
When we graduate to the universal thinking, the universal thoughts, then we have arrived at a plateau, an elevated plateau.
That's it.
That we're all human. and he evolved there. El-Islam carried him there. Dr. Martin Luther King, his faith carried him there to the universal level. But he said, I have looked over the mountain and I have seen what Muhammad Ali just stated, that his views have changed. And as long as I am alive, I will continue to understand more, because the work of the heart is never done.
That's it.
So that is our champion.
Yes, he is.
Universal plan.
Yes, he is. And that is the ultimate goal of this life here on earth, is to reach that point of personal spiritual evolution to unity consciousness, so that you understand that we truly are one entity. We are all expressions of the one. And so there really is no separation in terms of this color, that race, this nationality. All of these things that are artificial separations are just that, artificial. When you know the Creator, you know yourself, you know your brother and sister, you understand and appreciate all as an expression of the divine energy, divine creative energy of the universe we call God. And so when you reach that point of realization, that is the goal. That is the purpose of this life experience. So we appreciate Muhammad Ali having transcended and ascended to that level of understanding and comprehension. And may we all reach that ultimate goal of remembering who we are as expressions of the divine Creator. And may we all learn to love each other. Thank you so much. Thank you, Maika. Thank you, Mama D and Kufi and Muhammad and sister from Pennsylvania. Thank you all for participating in today's discussion. And thank you to my co-host, Kareem Hamid, as always, bringing us insight. And we invite you to come on back tomorrow for Soulful Solutions with Dr. Debbie Green. I'm Naima Latif. We'll see you tomorrow.
Leave your comments about today's show. You can always reach me on my website at www.naimalatif.com. That's www.naimalatif.com. Watch our TV shows, listen to our radio shows, order our books, and be sure to get your copy of the book, The Female Solution. On behalf of our team of radio hosts, I'd like to thank all of you who participated in today's discussion. And to our global family listening from all around the world, we say thank you. To our family in China, Sheshe, India, Zanyaba, Japan, Arigato, Korea, Kamsamnida, Russia, Spasiba, Germany, Danke, Poland, Jean-Couillon, France, Merci, Spain, gracias, Italy, grazie, Egypt, shukran, Ghana, Medasi, Nigeria, Eshe, South Africa, Gabonga, Senegal, Geret, Kenya, Asante, Israel, Toda, Pakistan, Shukriya, Afghanistan, Tashakur, Saudi Arabia, Shukran. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Thank you. And may peace be upon you and the mercy of God and God's blessings.
Right here.
Thank you for using Blog Talk Radio. Thank you for using Blog Talk Radio.